Of course, children grow, and when they cross into their teenage years, suddenly everything seems to change. In the following video, notice how Rudy and Anita Garcia were determined to teach their daughters Jehovah's ways and the results they experienced.
We already had our firstborn, Renita, and then I was told that we were going to have twins. Yeah, we were new in the truth and inexperienced. So I was saying to myself, how could I take care of my children? Not only physically, but more so spiritually. I would be able to teach them to love Jehovah, to worship Jehovah.
Mom and Dad always worked part-time. Dad pioneered. So money was limited. Sometimes the car we had wasn't the most reliable, and it would break down right before the meeting.
I remember when our car broke down. Initially, I thought, we're not going to go to the meeting.
Mom and Dad would say, well, the car broke down, there's a meeting tonight, so let's walk.
So there's the 5 of us, my dad in his suit. The 4 women would be with our dresses, our book bags. And so that taught me not to let obstacles, anxieties prevent me from going to my meetings.
One of the blessings that Mom and Dad gave me was teaching me how to think and meditate on scriptures.
They encouraged us to set full-time service or pioneering as a goal. We all worked part-time, me and my siblings, and I remember one close family friend said to me, your parents are getting older, you're their daughter, and you should probably work full-time. That way they have more of an easy life. After that sister's conversation, I almost gave up on pioneering, but I knew deep down that my parents would not be happy about that. They wanted us to spend our youth in serving Jehovah.
My husband and I were invited to attend the 145th class of Gilead, and that was like a dream come true. I have to thank my parents for that because they always supported me through the years. I couldn't have done it without them. And for that, I'll be forever grateful.
Children are born imitators, and they're going to imitate our example.
I want to thank Jehovah for what our family is now.
Raising 3 daughters took years of work and sacrifice. But Rudy and Anita are joyful, knowing their daughters are happily serving Jehovah full-time.
We started out at the beginning of this month's JW Broadcasting episode with the theme, Let Each One Keep Watching How He Is Building. Toni Morris then giving tips on how to achieve this building work, which, as I explained, is really just indoctrination. When we're talking about building belief or faith in people, we're really talking about indoctrinating them. And right from the beginning of this episode, Toni Morris was referencing children in this whole process of building or indoctrinating. Well, it hasn't taken us long, has it, to get these testimonials specifically referencing the process of child indoctrination, showing a family and saying, look at what the benefits are. Look at how fantastic it turned out for this family with 3 daughters when they were raised from childhood to think that their value as human beings lay in whether they would serve an organization full-time. This for me is nothing to be proud of. This for me is disgusting, and it's being prescribed for millions of Jehovah's Witness parents who are watching this. This is how we would like you to raise your children. We'd like you to raise your children to devote their lives to us and to pursue full-time careers as recruiters of people into our organization. And when we say full-time, obviously pioneering isn't necessarily full-time in the strictest sense. It leaves a little bit of time for you to, earn a living. And you had that example there where one of the daughters was referring to a close family friend who was saying, well, instead of working part-time so that you can pioneer, don't you think you should work full-time, secularly work full-time, so that you can care for your parents? If this was really a close family friend, you imagine it would have been one of Jehovah's Witnesses. How could they have had someone who was a close family friend who wasn't one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Which got me to thinking, what will this close family friend be thinking if they're still a witness themselves, essentially seeing themselves shamed in this testimonial? Because probably what happened was the daughter told this story, probably not knowing that this would then be reenacted in a dramatization. I don't know, it's speculation, but doesn't it just highlight the fanaticism of this group? The fact that children are a commodity. They are a resource for this organization. And isn't it in the interests of Tony Morris and the rest of the governing body members to coerce parents, not just to coerce parents to show their children objectionable material that's going to scare them, but to coerce parents to raise their children to be the next generation of drones for the organization? And just one final point on this. I was a bit disturbed with the story about the car that wouldn't start. Am I the only one who thought, there's a little telling story in there which hints at what the reality of Jehovah's Witness life is like. If you're pursuing pioneering, if you're doing everything that the organization expects you to do with your circumstances, unless things work out extremely favorably for you, you're going to be poor. You're not going to have much money. And it's one thing to not have much money as a single person. It's another thing to not have much money or not have enough money to service your vehicle when you have 3 children. And they make light of the fact that when they got in the car to go to the meeting, sometimes it wouldn't start. The indication here is that this was a fairly common occurrence.
So money was limited. Sometimes the car we had wasn't the most reliable, and it would break down right before the meeting.
And they make light of this and, it wasn't a problem because we walked to the meeting instead. What if they needed the car for something more urgent than going to the meeting? That's my question. What if there was a medical emergency requiring immediate transport to a hospital? But because they're poor, because they're putting service of the organization first, they can't service their car. They can't maintain a vehicle that they own properly and keep it in proper working order. It's one of those things where, again, because the people behind this video are so deluded and so blinkered towards the message they're trying to convey, they miss these details which immediately become apparent when you watch this propaganda from outside of the Jehovah's Witness bubble of influence. How is this something that people should aspire to? Being so poor as a family with 3 children that your car frequently doesn't work. And all because you are putting servitude to an organization first above everything.